Are you an Eastern Shore guy?
I went to Easton High School. I moved here. I grew up in Easton. I wasn't born here, but I got here as fast as I could. Moved here in second grade from North Carolina.
Oh.
And I was born in Connecticut, and my dad moved around a lot. He was back at the old Black & Decker plant. He was the comptroller.
Oh.
Then 2 years later, they moved us to Towson, or I guess a year later. And my parents said, no, we live in Easton. So they made that work. And you know, it's like if you can find a way to live in Easton, you feel like you stole something.
Yeah,
and so we're trying.
yeah,
My wife and I are trying to make that work, and it's great. We love it here.
Yeah.
So the idea was, they say two things happen at business school. They say you're going to come in thinking like an employee, leave thinking like an employer. And then they say you're going to find out what you really want to do and go get the nerve up to do it. And I said, well, I already know what I want to do. I want to be the global head of a commodity business or something like a big bank, like a, you know, I loved commodities. I loved the math and the rigor of managing a huge, very risky portfolio. It was very exciting. But I realized when I was there, I said, man, I just like companies, because companies are just people.
Yeah.
And I want to do something small and fun.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, and then in 2008, the opportunity presented itself. They gave me, basically everything changed back in the financial crisis. And you know, Constellation pared down their risk position, which means that it's still a great company, great people, yeah. But it went from being a West Coast quarterback, which is what I was, to a run the ball 3 yards up the middle quarterback, which, God bless him, it just didn't seem like fun for me, didn't seem challenging the same way. I took a severance and set out on my own. I lived in Chevy Chase, Maryland, which is just outside D.C., and my mom lives in Easton. My dad's deceased. He's buried in Oxford. Oh. And we drove over one day and got a Smith Island cake, and I said, that seems kind of interesting. And I talked to textile companies and lumber yards and cement, you know, companies and all these things, and nothing really piqued my interest. And then I ate a cake, and all the men in my dad's family are bakers. I didn't realize that, but it's all kind of, you know, the apple doesn't fall far. So we've always liked baking, always liked food. I'm not a baker, as I said, I'm a finance guy, but it seemed like a good idea. So I set out, I started an investment company called the Plimhimmon Group, which is named after my dad, the Plimhimmon farm in Oxford, after the regatta. He loved sailing, and so he's buried with a view of Plimhimmon. And so I said, if I ever go out and start a company, I'm going to call it Plimhimmon after my dad. So my investment company is called the Plimhimmon Group. And I went to Smith Island, met a couple of great ladies, a few gentlemen, and said, let's start a company. It's been 6.5 years.
Smith Island was settled in the 1600s, and we have been perfecting the Smith Island cakes since then.
I never really had a big vision for it until I realized that Omaha Steaks does almost $600 million a year of sales. So, you know, I really think this could be a several $100 million company. There's always room at the top, yeah. And I want to be the best, and I surround myself with the best. I like to think we attract the best, and our product is the best.
Dredgers used to leave to go dredging, and then they wouldn't come back for 2 or 3 months. Their wives made them cakes so they could still have a little bit of home with them.
We've been in Neiman Marcus for 4 years, Camden Yards, Hammacher Schlemmer, Nordstrom Cafe. We've really proven, Chef's Warehouse, we've really proven that we're an excellent gift company. We're a bakery gift company. Chef Jordan Lloyd from Easton, friends since we were kids, he's our chef de cuisine. We now do cake and ice cream, which makes perfect sense, because if you're sending a gift to somebody, you send cake and ice cream. So that's what we do.
It's made from scratch. So we have a lot of time and love in it.
I enjoy making them. I enjoy eating them. In my opinion, it's the best cake there ever was.
We unconditionally guarantee our product, so it's never, and people are surprised that I personally answer the phone and emails. You know, Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, someone calls and furious that FedEx made a mistake, which is very rare, but it happens. And I said, what'd you like me to do? Well, I want a refund. The party's over. I said, okay. What do you mean, okay? Done. And they look at their phone, they go, oh, there's the refund. How else can I help you? Yeah. Can I ship you another cake in the future? Well, yeah, I've got a birthday next week. Tell you what, let's ship the cake again. Errors are very rare. And of course, you get a customer for life, because we want their grandkids. We only ship perfect cakes, and we only have happy customers. Yeah.
We have shipped to every state in the United States for birthdays, anniversaries, and weddings, all different kinds of celebrations.
Every business is a terrible idea until it becomes an obvious great idea. I mean, don't forget that Under Armour had to scrape together 2 nickels to make a quarter, and Kevin Plank, who I don't know, but a lot of people I know do, I mean, they thought he was crazy. They said, you're never going to take on Nike. Yeah. And now, what, $5 billion later, it's so obvious? Yeah. You know, so every classmate from Wharton told me this is a stupid idea, you're never going to make it work. And maybe they were right, but so far they haven't proven. Until we're shipping 2 million cakes a year, I want to focus on first principles. We make the best cakes in the country with the best narrative in the country, the best story. And people won't buy a narrative. They like a narrative, but they want quality. Like we're in the Neiman Marcus holiday catalog for the 4th straight year.
People on the island have always known how delicious the cakes are, but we're letting everybody in on the secret now.
Who's your competitor?
Ignorance.
Second competitor. I mean,
more ignorance. 6.5 million people. There's no such thing.
Okay.
The market's getting bigger, and so to even think, because when you think about it as an economic premise, if you think about competitors, you're presupposing that the market is somehow defined, and I want a piece of what you're doing. That's the wrong premise. The demand is the holy grail. It is so easy to make anything, right? The trick is to make it well, to make a product you're proud of, to do right by your employees and the community they represent, and to service your customers, which that's not very easy. You know, we make it look easy. We get thank you notes all the time, but we put our heart and soul into it. It takes a lifetime to build a reputation. It takes 20 minutes to ruin it. So far, we're about 6.5 years into building it, and people understand what we do. Our ingredients are great. Our team is excellent. Our quality, our packaging. We're always revisiting how we do things. I always say that every year I fire the CEO and bring in a new guy. You know, I look at the stuff I did last year and I say, okay, you're done. Bring in a new guy. It's probably the same dummy you had last year. But you try to build on what you did. You want to be better. You want to be excellent.